Bases dropped on a new round of SDH AM. John here, you there, and it's time I have to do the thing. So, did it actually add? Wow, it actually added. I don't have to do it today, and I don't have to do 19 things at once. Holy crap. It might have been fixed. For those of you that saw me struggling over the last week, trying to figure out how to let everybody on the 280 character app know that we were going live, there was a cut and paste thing that our friends at our hosting network gave us for a bit of a helpful hint, but you couldn't do it until you were up and running. And then when you're up and running and you're trying to do live, then you're trying to talk and you're trying to cut and paste and let everybody know what's going on the 280 character app. And so it turned into a fantastic monologue of me trying to do cut and paste and let everybody know that we're here. But now that that's been taken care of, hi, Wall Pass Wednesday. And it is where anything's on the table. We do have some business to take care of, or business, as our old friend, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, used to say. It is going to be Max Anderson, play-by-play voice of the Chicago Fire, coming up in just a little bit. Mike Gramajo of WESH-TV in Orlando got stuck doing TV things, but our buddy Dylan Butler, we will see how he is doing. Busiest man in the Northeast at 10 o'clock, and it is going to be our first chance with Dylan here in the 2026 season. So we've got a lot to get into and a lot to look forward to. So it'll be good to catch up with Dylan. See if we can have Mike Gramajo on hour number 1 tomorrow before business picks up for him in the soccer sense of things. And then the rest of the day today, we've got to talk about what's going on in England. We have a sale that looks like it has gone kablooey. We have a manager that we all know from Major League Soccer that has been sacked. CONCACAF was busy last night. Champions League was busy yesterday. And we'll get into all of the reviews and the previews and the things that are going on with all of that coming up here in the show, plus your thoughts and all the things. Morning, Dell, and morning, Ricky, as we go. So Chicago had a bit of a rough one. We got to catch up with KCD yesterday because she was in the booth with Christian Miles. And we kind of got the Houston look at things. And so today we'll get the Chicago look at things. I know a lot of folks are high on fire on high. Thank you, ELO, for that one. And it is a chance to see where things are early in the second season of the Greg Berhalter administration with Max Anderson here coming up in just a little bit. CONCACAF made some news yesterday with our friends at Paramount Plus. And so they're going to be busy between now and 2030. We'll have the news on that. Like I said, we'll have your reviews, your previews, your news, get you ready for what's on the table, and all the things as we're here in the midweek. Just to give you an idea about the rest of the week, tomorrow is the Power Hour with Nino and Nico. That is at 10 and 10:30 to get you through to the hour number 2 tomorrow. Then on Friday, Chris Doran's going to join us at 9:10 from Columbus. Friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring hopefully can join us at 9:30. MLS, our weekly guest segment from Apple TV, that starts this Friday at 10 o'clock. Don't know who it is yet. And then 10:30, Ryan Feigert, the play-by-play voice of FC Dallas, is going to join us at 10:30 to get you ready for the weekend. Noon today, it is Red Clay Wednesday. Red Clay Soccer Report, that's going to be from noon to 1. And we do get to look at our Wintersville Classic special. So we're going to have all 4 coaches on at various times within the hour to look at Wintersville Classic from a soccer perspective. They played last night, and I've yet to look at the final scores, but I know that Lowndes was leading Valdosta in the boys' game 2-0 in the first half. But we're going to talk to all 4 coaches coming up at noon, and we're going to kind of look at Wintersville Classic. We can look at Wintersville Classic from the American football sense with Shelton Felton and with Adam Carter, and with all of our friends down in South Georgia that cover it on a weekly basis. But we've yet to look at it from the FUTBOL sense. So how is the state of soccer with those 2 programs, with both the boys and the girls? What's the growth pattern? What does this rivalry mean? What are they looking forward to when it comes to advancing all of their activities and growing the sport there in those 2 high schools? And so that's the element that we'll take a look at Red Clay when we talk about the high school game at noon today, between noon and 1. So I had 2 matches last night. We were at Stars Mill. Great to catch up with our friends down there with the doubleheader of Northgate and Stars Mill. The girls' side, you got to see some great talent There you had Kendra Ivaska, who is heading to Vermont from Stars Mill, and you had Maddie Lewis. And I got to find out where Maddie is going. And I think I think she has one more year, but you had dueling braces. And so Northgate and Stars Mill on the girls' side, 2-2 after 80 minutes. They go to PKs. Northgate wins in PKs 4-1, and they get the win in that part of it. Then the nightcap was a 1-0 win for Northgate, and it was a goal in the 30th minute. That was the difference. And so that was 1-0 there. So win in PKs on the girls' side, 1-0 win on the boys' side. So Northgate gets the sweep. Very, very young boys' team for Stars Mill this year. Very, very young. And they at one point had 6 freshmen. I think 6 freshmen started, if memory serves, and I think they've got 8 on the roster. And so on the boys' side, next couple of years are really going to be interesting with Stars Mill to see how they're continuing to go. But by the end of this year, those freshmen that are ahead, smaller than the upperclassmen, they're not going to be playing like that. And so it'll be very, very interesting to see how Stars Mill evolves coming up on the boys' side with all of those freshmen. Man, there were a lot of freshmen playing last night, but they were holding their own. And you could see quality minutes coming from a bunch of different places there at Stars Mill on the boys' side. For the girls, they were a little shorthanded. You actually had one player who joined in the second half because she was on a college visit. And so it was an interesting evening of juggling for coaches for coaches Bowen and Buck at Stars Mill last night. But big wins for Northgate and the non-region side of things in PKs on the girls' side, 1-0 win on the boys' side. Friday, Maddie and I are going to be at West Forsyth for Lambert and West Forsyth. Gives Maddie the chance to call Lambert Longhorn soccer for a bit, and that'll lead us into the weekend with all of the stuff that we've got going on with Atlanta United and San Jose. That's going to be on 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app. Maddie and I, yes, you heard correctly, because if you were with us on Monday, Abe has a long-distance run on Sunday morning. So it didn't really make sense for Abe to kind of maybe do pre and not do post and be, wired for the whole thing. And so Maddie and I are going to do Five Stripes Countdown, and we're going to do the full-time report on 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app. So literally it's like the caddies at Bushwood. Caddies at Bushwood for us with Atlanta United and San Jose. On at 6:30, kickoff 7:40. Mike and Jason will have the call for you there. And then we will have full-time report after that. Once again, 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app. So it is very, very yes, Abby, it was. Morning, Michael, and morning, Abby. Yes, it was. It was decent. It was in the 50s when we started. So Abby was asking about the temperature and at the at everything there. So it was. Yes, it was. It was in the 50s, guaranteed. And so it was there, and you had that particular you had that moment going on. Then you're looking at unbelievable. But yeah, it was in the 40s, I want to say, maybe in the 30s before it was time to go. And it was cool getting there. And then it would be, and I give Stars Mill credit. I'm trying to do a little traffic here. All right. So, let me see that. Looks like we're going to have Mike Gramajo on live. Let's see, talking about the purple team. So, send the live link since we're hot right now. Okay, so all right, so Mike Gramajo is running around, and he was supposed to be on tape, but now he's going to be live at 9:30 talking about Orlando. So, all right. Okay, so it was in the 50s when we started. I give Stars Mill credit. Their press box viewing lines are great, and for them, it was I was right there at the 50, but packed my hot hands, absolutely hot hands was there for that, and it was that came in handy. But that also reminded me that I need to get more hot hands because I used my last one that was there yesterday, and I have the big ones, the big hot hands, and so it was a bit of an adventure. But anyway, that just reminded me for later that I have to use the bigger hot hands. But I will give I will give them a boatload of credit for everything that the hot hands people do. But I had one big hot hands, and that actually got me through all of the things. That got me through all of it. And I give, full credit, full credit, full credit to the hot hands people for making that absolutely possible. So let's see. Okay, so like I said, I'm trying to do, like I said, I'm trying to do 19 things at once here. Just when you thought you had it all squared away, that we're going to have guests and we're probably going to have colliding. So yes, okay. So all right, so it looks like Mike Gramajo from WESH-TV is going to be joining us bottom of the hour, and then Max Anderson. We are waiting on Max to join us also. So I think we might have some guest collisions here, and we'll see what's going to happen with all of this. And all right, so Max Anderson was supposed to join us at 10 after the hour, but looks like Mike Gramajo is going to now join us at the bottom of the hour. Dylan Butler set to join us 10 o'clock. We're all colliding together. Okay, so it's going to be this is, and once again, no surprise that the show has moments like this. So it'll be it'll be interesting as it always is, and we wouldn't have it any other way. So all right, let's see. Okay, all right, and that's all right. So that's the lineup. All right, lineup has changed. So the lineup has officially changed as we go. So Mike Gramajo, WESH-TV, is going to be joining us bottom of the hour, and it's going to be Dylan Butler joining us at 10 o'clock. And we'll see if Max Anderson can work his way in to discuss Chicago Fire. All right, so all of that chaos is now opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Starting your day with the most important stories in the game, right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala, heavy-bodied, notes of walnut, semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. So there you go. Okay, so that's it was cold, and I hate cold. But it was a good action last night down there in the Southern Crescent as we get you ready for West Forsyth and Lambert coming up on Friday, Atlanta, San Jose coming up on Saturday. Maddie and I are indoors at 92.9 The Game at Colony Square. Mike and Jason are leaving tomorrow to head out west for the matchup. So I think that's the rest of the week. So at some point today, in perfect world, Mike Gramajo, WESH-TV in Orlando, Dylan Butler from MLSsoccer.com, efforting Max Anderson, the play-by-play voice of Chicago Fire. Now, tomorrow, Power Hour, Nino and Nico. Then it is Friday, Chris Doran, Friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring, Apple TV, Ryan Feigert from FC Dallas, and we get you ready for West Forsyth and Lambert. So, okay, that's the next couple of days until it all changes at the drop of a hat. Anyway, all right, so that's where we are. I don't know if the team leaves today. I don't know. I do not know. Yeah, and Ricky, I think you are in a majority opinion that that John Texter needs to run us our money. I don't know if the team leaves today, Abby. That's a good question. But we will find out. But yeah, John Texter and Texter apparently the Texter. This might be even opening kickoff kind of stuff too. I saw this yesterday, and it appears Aries. Now this is from Bloomberg. Aries is trying to get more than they're trying to move to weaken John Texter's operational control of his football group. And so once again, this is from our friends at Bloomberg. So we've kind of devolved into a John Texter update. Yes, I accept the terms. Please stop. Nothing like, trying to read something and then they sit there and go, what you need to do is you need to subscribe. No, I don't care. I really don't care. But also apparently, because remember when we've been discussing Texter in the past, that you have a group that has made a point to offer up $500 million to John Texter in 3 separate tranches with an interest rate that's off the charts. And so now Aries is looking to weaken his operational control because of all of the different ways that he has tried to figure out how to spend their money. Aries is trying to claw back more than half of the money that they're owed by Texter. And so, as he's been trying to build his quote-unquote empire, now you have also, as of yesterday, Eagle Football Holdings Bidco has a termination of appointment of Texter as a director. In an advanced company search, L'Equipe found that in a document published, Texter is no longer their director following his, what they refer to at L'Equipe as a failed coup. A failed coup is how they're referring to it. So Texter no longer the director of Eagle Football Holdings Bidco, the entity that owns the shares and legal rights of all of the clubs, including Lyon, under a timeshare agreement. Confirmed by the company in a legal statement, formalized existing information rather than reporting new details. Specified Texter dismissed from his position January 27, lawsuit incoming, I bet, when a few hours before Eagle, formerly the OL Group, general meeting, once again, remember, he tried to have that coup to get control of everything. The attempt to remove the 2 independent directors with the help of his lawyers failed in the face of a counterattack by Michel Kang and Aries management, the creditor informing him of his immediate departure. And so then the statement that was produced yesterday, and this is from the government. This is from the government of that company known as England. gov.uk in a filing history. Termination of appointment. It is a PDF that is 1 solid page. Form authorized by one of the following, having to do with termination of John Charles Texter, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different individuals who could be authorized to do this. And literally, it is termination of a director's appointment in a 1-page PDF with a barcode to Companies House in England. Filing on 2/20, date of termination back on January 27. So Eagle Football Holdings Bidco has fired John Texter, or terminated John Texter. And then they appointed Robin James Mostyn Pugh as a director on February 4th. And so Eagle Football Holdings is kind of catching up on their documents here. Two appointments made on January 25th. Hemon Victor Sayo and Stephen Hamilton Welch as directors. CSC CLS UK is limited as a secretary on the 19th of February. Then John Charles Texter terminated. Sayo and Welch were terminated back in late January. Termination of CSC CLS Limited as a secretary on February 19th. Texter was terminated as director on January 27, and Robin James Mostyn Pugh was appointed as a director on February 4th. So literally all those documents are in the gov.uk pipeline. All of that's in the gov.uk pipeline. But John Texter, the biggest element in all of this, is that Texter was terminated as a director on January 27, and now Aries is chasing after their money. So Aries is chasing after the money that John Texter owes them still. Holding company controlling Botafogo and Lyon, removal of John Texter from his position. Officially sacked after his failed coup. And so You have the split now being official. No longer the director of the holding company that oversees Lyon, Botafogo, Molenbeek, and formerly Crystal Palace. Expulsion reportedly occurred hours before the general meeting. And so now Michel Kang and Lyon and Aries signal the end of the era, according to RMC Sport. And remember all of that debt that was incurred, where Texter's like, "Well, tell you what, I'll pay off with Botafogo funds with what I owe the French taxman." And they're like, "No, that's not how this works." Backed by Aries management, Michel Kang formalized Texter's removal, now stripped of all operational responsibilities within the holding company that owns the various clubs. Now it makes you wonder if Eagle has announced the departure of Texter. All that he has now apparently is Botafogo. And so how I ask, how, as he arrived in Rio and watched the training session with a drink in hand, according to Fogalnet. He's in Rio. Watching practice of Botafogo. Been coming to Brazil more frequently, attending games at the stadium, probably because it's the only place that he might actually be allowed. Expected to be present for the match against Nacional Potosi. Botafogo need to win by 2 goals or more to qualify. Yeah, so I love how Fogalnet phrases this. Amid legal disputes at Eagle, Texter's been more present at the Black and White Club, which is undergoing restructuring. Yes, that is true. And he has accused Aries of acting illegally to remove him from Eagle and that he remains in charge. And this was yesterday afternoon when he said this. In the document in and of itself, he issued an official statement on his website stating Aries acted without legal grounds to remove him, guaranteeing that 2 days later he was reinstated. In the document, he justified the dismissals of Seau and Welch, citing the discovery of a parallel agreement in mid-January involving Michel Kang and Aries, stating that such an agreement violated French law and affected the management of Lyon. He also said that Botafogo was left adrift with a lot of money to receive under the direction of a, quote, secret council in France. Texter stated the dispute with Aries over control of Eagle Bidco will continue. No disputes regarding control of Eagle Midco. Remember all the holding companies. And he remains a majority shareholder of Eagle Football Holdings. So here's the statement from Texter. Timeline below aims to help the public understand the conflicting document records at Companies House in UK, which is what I read to you about the 2 guys that were dismissed, the company that was dismissed, and Texter being terminated. Companies House is a publicly available open access system in England that can be affected and manipulated by competing interests. In the case of Eagle Football, Companies House records now show the effects of differing viewpoints on the company's governance. So that's all it is. So Texter is intimating that with one side filing paperwork, then it's obviously only half the story, and here's the other half of the story. Okay, we're going to put a bookmark in Texter because there's a lot to do. Yeah, Michael, you're not the only one wishing about Texter. Okay, we try to catch him normally before he heads to practice, but we're going to find out where practice was today. Time to catch up with Mike Gramajo and WESH-TV in Orlando to find out about the Purple team. Mike Gramajo, sir, what is going on?
How's it going, John? No, thanks for having me again. I'm starting to like these invitations to talk Orlando, and obviously the good work that you guys do with the whole soccer down here, because it's like you're incorporating not only just Georgia, but basically the other part of the South, which is the state of Florida.
I mean, I know it is Purple team, it is Pink team, and we got to talk about that coming up in a bit. It's we cover everything. It's not just because we're based here doesn't mean we just talk here. So that's the best way for me to phrase it. Okay, I wanted to catch up with you for a couple of different fronts. So now that you've had the sum total of 2 days to digest everything, or more than 2, what are some of your big takeaways from match week 1 when it came to what the Purple team, as they call it here in this particular part of the footprint, what Orlando City was up to on match week 1? What are some of your bigger takeaways?
Yeah, so it really, I mean, I think it's fair to say that this wasn't their most impressive start to the season, because it wasn't. As cliche as it sounds, it was a tale of two halves. But um, I'll dissect the first half. This was an Orlando City team that was completely dominated in the first half by a really young Red Bull New York, led by a really young Michael Bradley. And it looked like that in the first half. I mean, you looked how that first half went. It ended 2-0 by the time it was halftime, but it could have been more. It easily could have been probably 5 goals that Red Bull could have put in. And obviously that wasn't the case because obviously we saw a really good performance from Maxime Crepeau, one of their new goalkeepers that stepped in this offseason as a free agent. But the team did not look so cohesive in that first half. It just looked like young guys basically dribbling around a bunch of cones on the field. And that's just the way I can kind of put it, because it looked like that. The midfield was non-existent for the most part, because a lot of the attack was Red Bull was really attacking from the outside wings. So both Orlando's fullbacks were just being exposed at constant times. And by the time halftime came, I think it came at a good time because it did spark something in the second half. Orlando was a little bit more on the front foot, but they just could not find they couldn't find enough goals to equalize the game. They did get one right before the final whistle, but really, it is what it is. It was a disappointing result, not necessarily a completely disappointing performance, but a lot more questions linger, and I think remain unanswered heading into week 2 against now probably their strongest match of the season so far against Inter Miami.
All right. So then what are those questions? You open that door, sir. What are those questions that linger heading into this matchup on the weekend?
Well, we still don't know whether Eduardo Atuesta, who was one of their team's starting midfielders, he missed out on the starting lineup ahead of that Red Bull game. Oscar Pereira basically said that it was hamstring tightness that he was feeling. So we don't know what his status is going into that game. The team really likes to play close to the vest when it comes to players that are injured, unfortunately. So trying to get some information out of that is a lot more difficult. Wilder Cartagena is the other question that I have as well. He was the other starting midfielder that missed all of last year because of an Achilles injury. So I think I will backtrack with saying he was a starting midfielder. He was the starting midfielder in 2024. But 2025 was he was sidelined the whole year because of Achilles injury. So him coming back, he had a full preseason, fully recovered. But him coming back and then leaving 13 minutes into that Red Bull game, that is where is another question, because that looked a lot more serious than what Eduardo Atuesta is probably dealing with right now. And if he's missing on Sunday against Inter Miami, then we're probably looking at a midfield duo of Brian Ojeda, which is another new player they brought in the offseason via trade against Real Salt Lake. And there's a question mark, like who will fill in, because you look at their midfield, especially in that part of the field, it's very limited. I mean, you're probably gonna want Eduardo Atuesta to be healthy to just pluck into that role, but there's that. The team hasn't been a very consistent scoring team, albeit this team is very young as well, because they brought in they brought in 3 young Brazilians, but Iago was the center back. He looked a little shaky, and Oscar did say after that Red Bull game that he may have probably rushed putting him into the field because just a completely different dynamic. So we don't know if Iago is going to be the starting center back this weekend. And then obviously Luis Otavio, the other Brazilian, but obviously plays in the midfield, who theoretically could step in the case that Eduardo Atuesta and Wilder Cartagena can't play. He's a question mark. He hasn't really trained all preseason. He reported to preseason already kind of with a reoccurring injury from when he joined from his Brazilian club. So that's the question mark there. And then Thiago Souza, who did score for Red Bull, he played more of a winger, but really did not get that much service. And considering this team has been a little inconsistent with the scoring since last year, I don't know. Like, I would like to be optimistic about what's going to happen this weekend, but then again, and then I put it into perspective. Inter Miami did lose as well, but I mean, nothing's set in stone. It's a very unpredictable thing.
No doubt. Okay, so you've raised one of my questions on my list, and I've got another topic that has to do with more of the inbounds. You have to answer all of these questions eventually, but you can pick your order. The three U22s coming in from Brazil: Thiago, Luis, Otavio, and Iago. So it's Thiago, Iago, and Luis. Those three U22s. You can answer a question about them. You can answer a question about Griffin Dorsey coming in to help out on the back line, which really, I think that it's safe to say that it kind of PO'd Ben Olsen in Houston, saying that he didn't have any say in the matter or much say in the matter with Griffin Dorsey coming over, or Maxime Crépeau. Since you talked about one of the deals, I will give you the opportunity to discuss the other deals that are big names. So you can either go in net, you can either go Griffin Dorsey, or you can go the three U22s. Take your pick.
I mean, I can try to tackle all of them if you like. I'll put them
You
all in the
are
same
eventually.
basket.
I'm just saying you're getting to all of them eventually. You get to pick the order, though.
Well, I'll start with Griffin Dorsey because obviously I think he did have a good performance considering he just arrived on about a week ago. So I believe he arrived the Tuesday leading into the Saturday game. So arrived on Tuesday, obviously was already training by Thursday, and was in the starting 11 by Saturday. So to say it's been a whirlwind for him, he would probably say the same because he did say after the game it's been a little bit of a whirlwind. But I mean, I think he played his part. I mean, he was able to get in the attack. He was able to whip in crosses into the area, which unfortunately nobody was there. But I mean, that's really an attack tactic that I would imagine that needs to get sorted out because he was able to find spaces in the right flank where he plays, and he was able to put in some good balls. Just no attacking players there to make much for it. So Griffin Dorsey played his part. Is he an Alex Freeman? No. I mean, the team was. I mean, as soon as Alex Freeman was sold, that was a priority. You needed to get that fixed because the week before Orlando City played their opener, they played against Colorado Rapids in a preseason friendly, and in that game, they're back. So we had Oscar had Ivan Angulo, their left winger, play that role, and you kind of said it there. It was terrible. It was terrible. Like Colorado won that game 4-1, I believe. So, and most of their goals came from the area where Angulo was supposed to cover, and so they ate that. To say Colorado ate in that game, they ate. So obviously, and Oscar was a little concerned after that Colorado game, saying that, well, yeah, we have a winger playing a right back. He doesn't do that. But he made it known that it was a priority to get in a right back for the start of the season. Obviously, considering how long I've been covering this team, and sometimes talk is just that. It's just a bluff. I did it. I was surprised to see they got a starting right back days going into the season opener. So kudos to them. They were able to do it. And Griffin Dorsey played a good performance. I think he still is going to need some time to really, mesh with the team, build some cohesiveness in that back line. But I think he played his part. And then with Maxime Crépeau, big gloves to fill, pun intended, because he comes in for Pedro Galese, who left the team after 6 seasons. It's easy to say he's a club legend because Pedro. So he had a big responsibility. And strangely enough, which is the most in a single game in Orlando City history. Ty Stadahar, who's no longer with the team either. But there's other caveats you have to add as well. When you look at the 11, Maxi Crépeau was
okay. The three U22s with the Thiago, Iago. I'm gonna blow that up by the time the season's over. I'm gonna mess that up completely. Thiago, Iago, and Luis Otavio. when you look at them all coming in as U22s, how do you envision their roles evolving? What do you anticipate them doing as a part of the offense when it comes to Orlando City as all very, very young players learning from Oscar Pareja? There we go. I think you settled in. Okay. The three U22s, Tiago, Iago, and Luis Otavio. What are you anticipating with the three of them, Mike?
Yeah. So can be U22s, right? Big responsibility that he has, right? He's going to be out for a couple months. I don't want to say several because I think that's over. Yeah, he has a fracture, so he's going to be out for a couple months. So I think Iago was, as Oscar said after the game, was rushed into the field, getting into MLS minutes. I think it's going to take some time for Iago really to get a idea and grasp what Major League Soccer is, and it's so it comes to really how this team's going to play around it. I think it still remains unclear because he did come in little preseason. I don't know if he's going to start on Sunday. No place for him at halftime, one of their draft picks. And surprisingly, he had a really good preseason. The defender out of Michigan, I believe. So that's Thiago. With Luis Otavio, it's really unclear what to expect from him because he came into preseason already with an injury that he had prior to joining and has been in that recovery mode, but hasn't been fully participating with the team at all. He's been either doing small participations or just training aside. So really unclear what we can expect from Luis Otavio. And then with Thiago Souza, a really young Brazilian player, very short, very agile. If anything, he reminds me a lot of Sebastian Giovinco during his time with Toronto FC, just how he was able to kind of finagle around players and really just find spaces and be that attacking threat. But Thiago's still, he's only 20 years old. So obviously, he was able to start the season scoring a goal. I think that's anytime anyone scores a goal, that builds confidence. But there's those players. There's a high expectation of them. I mean, a lot of money was basically shelled out to acquire them. So, eventually that investment is going to be asked of to really show what to really return that investment. So, three players that I believe, and this is what Orlando City sporting director Ricardo Moreira said, these are players that are looked at to have medium to long-term success with the club. So I'm curious to know if they're, are we expecting them to see a good first season? I think yes, but I think long-term, probably 2-3 years, because in MLS, long-term can be in the next 2. I think they would be expected to hit, to be a consistent producer of whatever position they belong to.
Another couple of minutes here with our buddy Mike Gramajo down at WESH-TV in Orlando, looking at the purple team coming out of match week 1, heading into match week 2, and it is against Messi and friends. And you would anticipate that Messi and friends are going to kind of be a little hot under the collar, considering what happened out in Los Angeles and the Orlando with what happened with Red Bulls. What's your gut telling you about this one out of the blocks?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, the first half like they did against Red Bull. They can't, because if the same type of first half they had against Red Bull, I can guarantee you that it's not going to be a 2-0 at halftime. It's probably going to be a 4-0 at halftime. And if it's a 4-0 at halftime, then let's just look how both teams built their off seasons. I think it's fair to say that Inter Miami got a little bit more stronger after winning MLS Cup, considering all the players they were able to bring in. And Orlando City really just reloaded, quote unquote, reloaded their roster because there was a lot of players, longtime players that left. So, I mean, in paper, Inter Miami looks like the favorite. And granted, it's likely Messi's going to be here, which, interesting enough, this is going to be his first time in Orlando. So, because he's already kind of missed out the last few games when Miami's been to Orlando. So, I don't know if Orlando's able to really. The thing is, when it comes to these Orlando Miami games, it rises the level of play to a next level.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you looked at I believe the last time they played was that Leagues Cup game that was marred with a little bit of controversy last summer. And that was probably Orlando's best performance of the year before everything kind of just nosedived after the Leagues Cup for them. So what I'm trying to say is I hope it doesn't get to that point where Miami really just puts a lot of goals behind Orlando's net, but it could be the case of where Orlando Miami meet and the raise to a level that we see some good football, which I think as spectators, everybody wants to see a good football match. So I think if that's the case, then do you want a score prediction?
Not at the moment. No, I mean, it's Wednesday. We've still got time. I mean, no, I don't want. I just wanted your early. I wanted your early 30,000-foot look, considering what happened with Orlando against Red Bulls and having problems with all of the kids that Michael Bradley brought to the table, and now you're going up against a group that's Berterame, De Silva, Suarez off the bench. Some guy named Messi, Allende, Silvetti. I mean, it is like literally someone has opened a rocket launcher and it is just like bang, So I just wanted to get your early vibe on it, man.
It's run up against a Goliath. I'll tell you right there. Goliath, the juggernaut. I can't think of any other adjective to describe Inter Miami because they are. I mean, obviously they lost against LAFC, but I mean, you can't discredit. They are still a big team in Major League Soccer. And granted, LAFC is also a big team in Major League Soccer. So I think we saw two Goliaths go at it this last weekend. But I mean, if Orlando address a lot of the wrongs, and when I say a lot, I underline it, a lot of problems in that Red Bull game. If they're able to address that, I think they could put a good football game against Inter Miami. I don't know what the score prediction will be because both teams are coming from losses, but no, there's still a lot of red flags in this Orlando squad. Oscar Pereira is going to be tasked with finding out what can make this team look a lot more of a threat in the attack. And really that's the only thing they can go forward. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, their midfield is a little banged up. So there's a lot of questions there, how this is going to really, how this Orlando City squad is going to look like come Sunday. There is a banged up midfield going into that game. A lot's going to be asked for the back line. A lot's going to be asked for the attack line. And we're going to have to see if this team looks a lot more cohesive than they were on against him.
Okay. Two more questions for you. One, how would you describe how different Maxime Crépeau is between the sticks than what you got from Pedro Gallese? How stylistically are they different from from just the sample size that you had last time out? How different a keeper is it between the sticks for you right now in Orlando?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to analyze how much right now Maxine is. I mean, he did have a good performance, so I will give him his credit there. He made a couple key saves, a lot of them from a lot of shots from close range that he was able to stop. Because granted, he's a big player. I mean, I spoke to him twice this offseason, and standing right next to him, I had to look up. So, and I'm not saying I'm a short guy, but the height difference is there. So he's a big guy. So, but I mean, with Pedro, I mean, considering the 6 years he was here in Orlando and the several saves he was able to really produce, some of them were just like how you do that. I think it's way too early to see what the difference between them.
Mm-hmm.
But Maxime, again, had a real first game of the season as far as the saves he was able to produce. I think as the season goes on and progresses this year, I think communication between him and his players, whether it's the backline or the whole team, because a lot of players say it's not only the backline; it's a collective effort at the end of that defense. But we'll see how communication goes, because obviously Pedro was a vocal point in that team last year. He was one of the team's leaders, so I think he did have the respect of a lot of the veteran players, a lot of the young players, and I think Maxime is now in that position where he's gonna basically want that respect from his teammates going in as the season progresses. Not to say he doesn't have it, but you're a new guy. You're still trying to figure your way out as far as in the field of play. So I think once he starts finding his true voice in that team, I think we'll start seeing really what the difference is between Maxine and Pedro. But Maxine is Maxine. He is an MLS veteran and carries a lot of experience. So I think it was a good pickup, considering I think the original target was Carlos Coronel, but the team pivoted pretty fast, and Maxime was the guy they landed on.
Okay, so bigger goalkeeping legend, Schlegel or Gillespie?
Oh man, well, I think both are legends in their regard. Both are legends. I think they really are. Rodrigo, I think, is a legend just because of this goalkeeping heroics he did in his first. Was it his first MLS season? It was, yeah, because it was in 2020. So in his first MLS season. So, but Rodrigo, he has an interesting story because when he came into the team, he really wasn't a starting center back for the team, and then eventually, as the years progressed, he was a little bit of a hothead as far as picking up really dumb yellow cards, dumb red cards, of course, but his personality, his leadership, I think it can't go unnoticed. He is a
As always, my friend, great to catch up with you. I know it's a big weekend, and do not be surprised if we knock on your door again next week to get a post-mortem of this big match in the Southeast, in the Eastern Conference. You know where the garage door opener is. It's always great to catch up with you to find out. You are our Orlando Oracle. Say that 10 times fast. Orlando Oracle. So sounds like a middleweight boxer from the 80s. Anyway, Mike Gramajo from WESH-TV in Orlando. It is at by Mike Gramajo on the Twitters. How else do folks look at and see what you're doing at WESH?
I mean, on Instagram as well. I'm trying to do a little bit more video content this off season. So at Mike Gramajo on Instagram as well, which I'll I put there because that's what the people want nowadays, more visuals. You can find me on Instagram as well.
All right, we'll knock on your door once again early next week, and we'll set up the schedule. And you can come in live, or you can come in tape if the real world actually calls. Great to see you, my friend. I know it's going to be a big weekend down there in Central Florida. We'll see you soon. Thanks for dropping by.
Thanks for having me on.
There goes Mike Gramajo from WESH-TV in Orlando. And Dylan Butler set to join us in 5 minutes. Max Anderson sends his profound apologies. He'll be up 9:30 tomorrow. So Thursday is going to be stacked, packed, and racked. All the planes are going to be going all around everywhere. So Dylan Butler coming to join us in a couple of minutes. And then tomorrow it'll be Max Anderson at 9:30, Power Hour at 10 o'clock, Nino Torres at 10, and we're probably going to talk a little bit of the fallout with Prestiani. And then at 10:30, it's going to be Nico Moreno setting up the weekend in Major League Soccer from the Pacific perspective. So stacked show tomorrow. 9:30, Max Anderson from Chicago Fire, play-by-play on WLS. Then Nino Torres and Nico Moreno. So that's tomorrow on the morning show. We have the rundown set up for the Red Clay Wednesday at noon, And it's going to be me kind of setting things up a little bit. Then we're going to go rapid fire with the coaches, 10-minute intervals, 12:10, 12:30, 10, wow, 12:10, 12:20, 12:30, 12:40. And I've told them don't be afraid to come in early and stay late if you want to. But those are their assigned start times in the sprint where we're going to talk about Wintersville. And big thanks to our buddy Cody Case down there at Valdosta for setting all of this up. Okay. The reason, and I know that a lot of you are kind of fed up with John Textor talk, but it's important in the sense of Atlanta United hasn't been paid yet. Nothing's official there. And John Textor has a history of kicking the can down the road when it comes to legal proceedings. He has a judgment against him, and FIFA has pulled the transfer embargo away from Botafogo. There has been no official announcement on any side about the debt being paid. So I'm almost to the point to where I'm like, look, give me a couple of good players from Botafogo and the cash balance, and we'll be good. I'm to that point because I want this over with. I mean, from a news perspective, it's important because I think that the best disinfectant is sunshine in cases like this. So to continually being kept up to date on his comings and goings, I think it's important in the grand sphere of things, and also with what's going on with Atlanta United. So yes, anytime there is a John Textor update, as laughable as it may be, it's important in the grand scheme of things to continue to discuss what is going on and what isn't going on from a financial standpoint, and to continue to have that kind of sunshine on individuals like this when it comes to everything that he claims and all of this stuff. So it's up to individuals and businesses going forward as to whether or not they want to continue to do business with him, considering his other interests outside of football. And that's why folks have been with him as long as they have. Our buddy Jason Stevens has intimated as much. It is all the other things that he has become a part of or has interest in. That's why folks are with him, not the soccer part. And now Aries is, I think, just completely and totally just pissed off now, and they want their money. So in the case of Ian, I'm going to once again wrap up what he said on his website. In the case of Eagle Football, Company's House records show now the effects of differing viewpoints. That's where we were. Mr. Text, and this is a third-person reference. That's $1 in the jar. Mr. Textor objects to the filing of frivolous documents by third-party creditors with Company's House, which seek to restrict the rights of shareholders of the Eagle Group companies, as clearly established by the constitutive documents of these entities, the articles of association, which can be consulted at Company's House. He went third person. So termination. And this might be the required reading of the day, and you can get it translated. But I would obviously, from what I don't get into, because I don't want to spend the entire blanking show on it, it might be just required reading. So there is the link at Fogalnet, and so there that's the link. So Dylan Butler coming up in a second. Textor addresses his termination of the termination of Eagle Bidco directors by John Textor back on the 26th with links. Wow, this is a long read. Then Aries attempting to change the board of directors at Eagle Bidco. I'm going to have to read this now. January 28th. So this is a blow-by-blow from what happened in late January. And dispute between Aries and Mr. Textor regarding control of Eagle Bidco will continue. So we're going to have more stuff to talk about. But that's your required reading of the day, having to do with our buddy John Textor and Atlanta United still being owed about $30 million. So he had his own say on his own website, and I will continue to reach out to him on Instagram to go, yo, dude, we want to have you on to talk. I will blow out my show to discuss things. But that's your link anyway. All right. So 10 o'clock. First time in 2026 that we can say that we have had this gentleman on the show. And considering that he is the busiest man in the Northeast, we know why. MLSsoccer.com's Dylan Butler. Good to see you, my friend.
Happy New Year.
Yes, basically, yes. First off, I got to ask you this. Have you been able to dig your way out of what's going on up there with the nor'easter? Because no lie, I'm staring at Cantori, and he's in Plymouth County, Massachusetts. And you know the people in Plymouth County, Mass are saying, yo, fam, can you get out of here? And you got Boston under snow, and you're going to get more, I think, coming up later this week. How are you, first and foremost?
I mean, it's currently snowing right now. So I think we're getting a couple more inches on top of the 29, I think. 30 we might have gotten.
Oh, man.
Fun times.
But, I mean, power, you got food.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Yep. Okay, so I just wanted to double check. This gives us an excuse to check in on you to see how things are at the Casa de Butler.
Yeah, it's all good.
I can hear how it's good at the Casa de Butler too.
Delayed opening today.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, brother. All right. When we get into match week 1, we had Mike Gramajo from WESH-TV from Orlando on just a little bit ago, and Michael Bradley decided to just bring out the whooping stick, or he consulted Michael Irvin or what have you, and it was something where we knew what Michael Bradley was capable of doing because of what he did with the baby bulls, and he brought a couple of them up, and it was just like, okay, you're just doing it in a different place now. And it ends up taking out, Orlando in match week 1. Am I off in that assessment?
I don't think so. I think when you look at not even just debuts, right? Because there were a few debuts on the weekend, but I think when you look at just overall managerial performances, right? Like that's at the very top of the list. I mean, for him to come in, and we saw the change in their style, right? Still aggressive against the ball, still trying to win it right away, but also there's some possession involved. But yeah, what a big statement, right? Like, talk about #player kids. I mean, 3 under 18s for the first time in MLS history. And it wasn't like, oh, they're out there because, we've got fixture congestion or we've got a bigger game up coming up. No, like these guys were the preferred 11, and they showed why, especially in that first half. I mean, the first 45 was, if they were a little more clinical, that could have been 4 or 5 before the halftime break. So I think it's a great opening statement. I think it's a statement to the veteran players, right? Like, no spot is safe. And you've got to earn it during the week. And I think that just elevates, or it should elevate, the training each week. So now if you're a Red Bulls fan, I think you're excited about the prospects coming up the season in general, but also it gets a jolt of energy into their home opener for Saturday.
And you look at their first 5, and this is a team that, once again, you bring in Cade Cowell, transferred in Benedetti in the midfield. Voladaire comes in on a free.
Yeah, old man Cade Cowell, by the way.
Yes, absolutely.
at 22.
Yeah, it's like, yo, dog, here's your, you got to go apply for benefits over in Newark.
We need you to babysit a little bit here.
Yeah, it's like, can you kind of babysit these kids? Well, where are we going? Well, there's a bowling alley in Newark that we can, in Hoboken, that you guys can spend some time at. You bring in Horvath from Cardiff. You bring in Ruvalcaba from Pumas. You bring in Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy, who Montreal really could need. And your first 5 for Red Bulls, you're at the purple team, and you get the Duke. You've got New England coming in. New England will do that in a sidebar in a sec. You've got Montreal coming in. Then you're at Toronto, and you're at Charlotte. I think out of the blocks, you could be 3-0 heading to that the back-to-back roadies in Toronto and Charlotte by the time things are done.
Yeah, I would agree. You're, what is that, five match altogether you wrote down, right? So that would it be a surprise if they had 12 points out of those?
No.
Right?
No, I don't think so. I mean, because you took care of business last week, and I think that might,
or at least 10.
Yeah. So, I mean, you take care of business in Central Florida on the road. New England, I think you should be able to handle. Montreal, yeah, I think you should be able to handle. Then it's Toronto and Charlotte, and you're going, yeah, okay, I could see at least 10 in that first 5 there. Maybe slipping on a banana peel in that fifth one because you're going back to back on the road and you're going from Toronto back to Harrison to Charlotte. So no, I could see at least 10 points in that first 5.
Yeah, scheduling gods certainly aiding Michael Bradley in that, but yeah, again, all credit to them. I mean, I think when you look at storylines of the weekend, that's right up there as one of the biggest ones because it's a team that there was intrigue about coming in because of Bradley and the switch, but not necessarily expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, the challenge is, can you duplicate that?
Uh-huh.
Right? And yes, New England, they should get that win. But guess what? That's also a team that has younger players as well. So I think knowing Michael Bradley a little bit as I have throughout the years, he's going to be very measured and he's going to be there's no parties right now going on at the training facility, right? So there's probably shoveling going on, but some conditioning, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the shovels, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're gonna be ready to go for Saturday, and obviously I think if there were fans who were on the fence, do I go? Now I think you're excited about getting to Sports Illustrated Stadium. Still hard to say that.
Just SI Stadium. Look, it's Harrison, New Jersey.
It's RBA for life, but and watching the baby bulls in action. So,
all right. So then let's talk about the folks at Dillon Butler Estates, which is on its way to being the underpopulated showcase of live, work, play that it is set to be. I still think it's too few seats. You end up getting a point going to LAG to start, and you have 4 coming up. I mean, Philly, Orlando, Colorado, Messi and friends. After this result on the road against LAG, I would say it's safe to say that it's a point I don't think you necessarily anticipated going all the way across the country. And then you've got to turn around and you can, like I said, we'll talk Philly and everybody else in the East in a second, but you end up with a solid point on the road in a place you probably didn't expect to get a point in your season opener.
Especially the way the game started, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're figuring like you're already down a goal on the road against kind of a rebuilt LAG team. And then, I think the red card certainly changed things and the PK. And then in some ways, maybe you're like, we could have taken all 3 here, but you certainly leave LA with a point and go forward. And great to see Keaton Parks back on the field. He's been battling with those blood clots for a bunch of years now. So I'm happy to see him back out there and contributing. And I always find it funny when it's like when he's combining with Maxi, like Keaton's like 6'3", I want to say, and Maxi's like 5'3". So it's like it looks like it's playing with your kids in the backyard kind of thing.
Pat Maxi,
even though the ages are very much reversed. But.
Yes. So I just had, it's like the old Benny Hill sketch where he's, hitting little Jackie Wright on the back of the head, kind of moving forward like this, with New York and Pascal, with the other New York, with the Pascal Janssen, you're looking at a group that probably could get some points, but obviously you get that confidence boost going out on the West Coast. Philly, I want to get into Philly here, and I guess that kind of lends itself into a de facto DC discussion. But Philly, I mean, do we read more out of DC out of this one, or do we read more out of Philly when DC gets the Duke, and then you end up with Ezekiel Alado getting a red card for woofing? Do we get more out of Philly out of this one, or more out of DC out of this one?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know which team is real. Right? I think this is one of those almost maybe with both situations, you're like, all right, let's see what's next,
Mhm.
right? Like, you know, for DC, listen, a much maligned club for a number of years, and you know, they changed things too. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I was necessarily super excited about the changes they made or their prospects of the season, but yeah, Ty Baribo, scoring against his former club, celebrating against his former club. But yeah, I think it's kind of like, look, let's see what's next, right? DC going to Austin and Philly hosting NYCFC, both on Sunday. So I almost want to take that take of, you know, I don't know if you can necessarily take a lot out of those 90. I don't know if it's not a hot take of DC is back, Philly is down, you know, like it's
Oh,
hard.
come
It's hard
on. You
to
mean
know.
we don't do hot takey radio here? Come on. We don't do hot takey shows?
Are you going to ask me who's on the hot seat yet?
God. Well, I mean, if you want to go, you want to go in that direction after week 1. I could have said Eric Ramsey, who lasted a little more than
Oh,
6
too soon.
weeks at West Brom. Yeah, we'll get into that after you go. But yeah, okay. So tell you what, let me ask about that. I know I'm going off the page, but it is Wednesday. So Eric Ramsey gets dismissed at West Brom. It was not a good. It was not a good 6 weeks, 44 days. I think they were winless in 10. They were winless in 10. I think he had the last 9. Do you anticipate, and this is probably a loaded question as I ask it, do you anticipate the perception of managers coming from America and being chosen to be in the English pyramid to once again sit there and turn into an unnecessarily yelled at, I told you so about bringing somebody from America over to manage in England?
But I felt like this was a case that, like, he was rising in the ranks of in England,
Mhm.
right? Before he came over, and he wasn't even over here that long. So it's not like, you know, I don't know, like it's not the case of like a Bob Bradley or something like
Oh,
that, or
he got
Jesse Marsch.
completely screwed at Swansea. I'll
No,
say
100%. But you know, or even a Wilfred Nancy who
sure.
was,
Oh, God, he got screwed too.
yeah, that's another thing, right? Was it really his fault? Right? Because it doesn't seem like Celtic has turned things around
No.
since.
And I mean, what you should have done, one of two things with Nancy, and we've had our friend Chris Doran on to discuss this too, where with Nancy and Celtic, either you wait, it's like, okay, he's going to kind of observe for the remainder of the year, and then he'll probably bring Steven Moreira over from Crew and anybody else that he wants to bring in to be a part of that roster. Let him observe and take over at the end of the season, and then he can build in his way with an off season and then go forward with it. In Celtic in 26, 27 would be different than 25, 26. Or if Wilfred Nancy takes the gig mid-season, then you've got to be patient because he's dealing with square peg round hole. He's got a roster that's got issues anyway, and he's got to have his system be instituted with those players that may not necessarily fit what he wants them to do, or have those players even be around to do what he wants to do. And
Yeah,
then,
you know what I thought? I thought it was like with him going in. I I likened it to food or cuisine, if you will, right? Like Nancy is like, you know, a fine like French chef, and he needs time, and he's got to you know, he's got his way of doing things, and it's going to take a little while. And that's not what Celtic needed. Celtic needed Burger King, right? Like they needed a quick fix, let's go, you know, and he's not that manager.
no,
So
they needed White Castle.
who doesn't?
Well, when you need a gut bomb, you need a gut bomb, and that's what Celtic needed. And the table in Scotland has kind of reflected the chaos. But yeah, I think that you mentioned it. Managers coming over from the States. Bob Bradley got screwed at Swansea. He was promised a window he didn't get, and they freaked out. And Wilfred Nancy, like I said, it's do one of two things. Either be patient with him, which they weren't. Fans freaked out. Martin O'Neill started saying nice things, and then he didn't. Oh, I could have stayed on longer if they wanted me to. Gee, thanks. Let me go into the cabinet and remove that particular sharp object that you just got out of the drawer. And then and then you're not going to wait till the end of the year to bring him in, because the fans would sit there and go, well, you hired the guy. Well, what's he doing? And then you bring him in. Oh, well, you hired him, and this is what's happening. So either way, I thought it was going to be a no-win situation for Nancy unless you were patient with him, and they freaked out.
Yeah, I agree. I think with anything, it's, and we've seen it. He talked to us. It's not cliche, but he talked about the process, and think about how long it took for Columbus to adapt to the way that he wanted to play. And the thing is, if you do give him patience, I believe he delivers. And then what you had hoped you would bring in materializes, but it's not overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not the way that it's not his style.
No.
So he's not the quick fix guy. So it's unfortunate that happened, but with Ramsey, I don't like, what was he here a year and a half? Was it?
If that, hang on, let me check the Wikipedias so that way I can get it correct. Eric Ramsey, let's see, I guess I could do West Brom and then get away with it, and then it'll give me the full history. But yeah, I mean, it was
like, he's not, like, to me, he's not necessarily. Yes, he did come from an MLS club, but like, he was in a up and coming. He was an assistant coach in England. Here's your chance. Cut your teeth as a manager, and now, go back to England. So I wouldn't put that same sort of title on him, if you will.
Yeah. Hired February 22nd, 2024. So it's the 2024 season that he started. 12 games, 24 points. So
it's about 2 seasons.
Yeah. So 2 seasons. And then he goes over because he was Manchester United, joined the Wales national football team as an assistant coach in 23. And then Rob Page says, quote, Eric is arguably one of the best young coaches in football at this moment in time. 6 months after joining Wales, left his position at Wales to focus on Manchester United. So he kind of double dipped for 6 months in 23, focused on Manchester United. Then in 24, hired as the head coach at Minnesota United. 2 seasons, he goes to West Brom, lasts 6 weeks, and now he's out looking for work as well. And so we'll see what Eric Ramsey's up to next. But I fear the stereotype is going to continue to perpetuate itself when it comes to managers from this side of the pond. You silly colonials, you don't know about this beautiful game of ours. And then then you have Sam Allardyce sit there and go on the Flitty Footy podcast or whatever and sit there and yap about Jesse Marsh. And then Jesse Marsh goes back and he starts yapping back at Big Sam.
I was about to say, if there's anybody who's the guy, that short order cook for these relegation battles, it's Big Sam.
Jeez.
He knows how to sling those burgers.
Yeah, and they probably still taste like what. Okay, this week coming up, we've got some tasties. We do have some tasty ones coming up, but Red Bulls and the Revs, since we started talking about Michael Bradley, the Revs, I don't know if they laid an egg or if they just went ahead and in that section of the grocery store just went ahead and put the dozen out there. It was not pretty, and not pretty for a long time against Nashville. And I imagine that it has to do with getting used to what Marko Mitrovic wants them to do. But that's not the kind of start you want. And now you're going into a matchup at in Harrison, up against the Red Bulls, and you're a decided dog. So I mean, if you look at match week 1 and apply it to match week 2, it could be another long day out of the blocks for the Revs.
For sure, but I think also you consider the opponent, and I think that's not it's the first but not the last team that's gonna give up big numbers to Nashville this year, I think. So,
Mhm.
I think that's maybe what you go back to New England with, and continue to build. I don't think I don't think they're as bad as that results would indicate. They're another one of those, like, I'm not going to give the hot take off of week one kind of situations, but yeah, I think you need to look better certainly against Red Bull. So I think the onus is on them, which again I think makes for an interesting match on both sides. Like we said, we mentioned the Red Bull part of it, and now for the New England part of it, how do they bounce back? What do they look like in week two? Against an Eastern Conference opponent.
Philly gets NYC on Sunday afternoon. Philly, obviously, we talked about them briefly and the clunker that they put up against DC. And you're not going to have Alado against NYC. I'm intrigued because I think that this is, once again, another one of those where, okay, we see where NYC is with all of this. Was what happened on the road at LAG, was that a legit thing?
Right.
And can they replicate it in a different environment going up against a team with Bradley Carnell, where we know what they bring to the table? It's sandpaper. It's, fourth line guys that want to sit there and line it up and kind of push the envelope a little bit. I think the key in this one legitimately might be whoever's in the middle with the whistle and the cards to find out, okay, where's the spacing here? What will Philadelphia be able to get away with on the field? What will NYC be able to do up against that defense and what we know that they want to do? This one has grinder written all over it, but I think the guy in the middle is going to be just as important.
Yeah, before that's indicated, I guess or we have to wait for that to be indicated to wonder what the over/under on cards would be, or fouls, right? So, yeah, it's gonna be one of those for sure. It's gonna be bumper cars at Subaru Park for sure.
Oh, that see, now that's the way, that to me, that's legitimately the way to that's the way to lay that out. I like that. It's bumper cars at Six Flags over Mid-America.
That's right. That's it.
Take a peek at that one. So, and just as an idea, I'm going to go back to week one assignments and see who it was. Okay, so it was Luis Diego Arroyo, who doesn't get a whole lot of reps as a center ref in Major League Soccer, except in those when everybody's all hands on deck kind of things. And he's done Next Pro in the Northeast. So he strictly has been a Northeast release when it comes to center refs, but he's not all that consistent in getting center ref work week after week. So he was there. Oh, wait, hang on just a second. I'm looking at the wrong ones. I'm looking at the wrong things, man. No wonder I was looking at it. It's like, no, that's not that one. So sorry, my bad. Guido Gonzalez Jr. was in the middle. Okay. So Guido Gonzalez Jr. was in the middle for DC and Philly. So do we get someone like Guido, or do we get someone who kind of lets things go? That's the big key there. Sergi Boyko was your fourth, by the way. So we'll keep an eye on that as the week goes along. Okay. Messi and Friends and the Purple Team. That is another one of the marquees after Philly and NYC. We still have no word from Major League Soccer on the storming of the gates, which really wasn't a storming of the gate. He goes in a door. He would have had to have gone up a flight of stairs and go into a room. He was restrained by Luis Suarez. Irony inescapable there. It was LAFC showing why LAFC is LAFC, and a clunker from Messi and Friends, and I fear for Orlando in this one. I really do.
Yeah, I think all those takes are fair. LAFC is one of the few teams that I think where you do take something significant out of it because of the opponent and the 75,000 fans, the whole thing, to say if you didn't have them as your MLS Cup favorites before, I think you do now for sure, right? Because of what they did. I also don't think, obviously, no one's counting out Messi and Friends. They're going to be there as well, but what a statement made by LAFC, a team that last night put the stamp on advancing in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, which I would expect every team to do so. The only question, I guess, is Vancouver, because they didn't score in leg one, but I gotta think they win that back at BC Place. So
Yeah.
you know, that competition. I know we're talking MLS here, but like that competition, I think is setting up for some really, really tasty round the 16 showdowns. But yeah, no, Miami's gonna be fine, and yeah, I think purple team. You know, look, you took it on the nose, and you were fortunate to only lose by one, and now you're taking on a Miami team who is going to come in angry. So I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, Messi and friends at Inter & Co. Say that 10 times fast. And okay, so since you went to Triple C, let's go there. It's going to be intriguing.
And I'm on the desk tonight for the. What do we have, a triple header tonight?
Oh yeah, I think so. Because if it was 2 last night, then
I had 3 last week too. So lucky
man,
me.
yeah, man,
including the LAG 11 p.m. kick.
Yeah, well, it's 11:30 tonight with the LAG and San Miguelito there too. So yay. FC Cincinnati should take care of business. They've you saw a lot of big early numbers
on the road.
Yeah, on the road. And so you know, I was thinking that Real España might make a bit of a fight with LAFC. I was sadly mistaken. And you know, then you had Philadelphia put up 5 on defense force. FC Cincinnati put up 4 on O&M.
So you're saying that defense force had no defense?
Yeah, their defenses were down. It was the heat shields or the what's the other, force field. So it was not effective. Someone had the keys to it. So it was kind of like in Wrath of Khan when they had the code, and then all of a sudden Khan's shields go down, and then the Enterprise gets to sit there and fire on him before he.
I thought you were going more Star Wars than Trek there. I'm not so much a Trekkie, but I was getting the reference to, like, I was seeing what you were saying there a little bit of Star Wars.
Yeah, so it was. So I'm guessing that the folks at Defense Force were Khan in Philadelphia, and Bradley Carnell was James T. Kirk. You know, it's like shields are down. You know, shields are down, Captain. Fire. You know, oh, it's coming. You know, one of those.
By the way, sidebar to that, there was a high school player in the soccer season. I did the game. His last name was Khan.
Oh,
he's you know what I'm going with. He scores the goal, so I'm like yelling, "Khan!"
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. You know, we're seeing a lot of big numbers on the road from MLS teams, and you're getting some brackets that, you know, you're going to get some amazing matchups in the round of 16 if chalk continues here. You're going to San Diego's put up you know, numbers to get through.
Yeah, they're already you know, they've already got Toluca, so that'll be, you know, a lot of fun. You've got like the all Mexico matchup with Cruz Azul Monterrey. LAG with
actually, LAG gets
LAFC. Sorry,
yeah, LAFC gets Alajuelense, and LAG
gets Mount Pleasant.
I mean, LAG got a bracket, man.
Yeah,
they got the first 2 rounds with San Miguelito and Mount Pleasant, and
Nashville, Miami again.
I know. I was talking to our buddy Lucas Panzica at 104.5 The Zone in Nashville, and he's like, "Man, it was like, what is it? The last 5 times in a row that we seem to have been playing, you know, that particular team."
Yeah,
I get sick of eating that meal, you know.
America Union.
Yeah, you're looking at that. Yeah, Tigres and Cincinnati and Cascadia, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some fun-ish, man.
And that's only the round of 16.
No real surprises. Tonight's 3 matchups: 7, 9:30, and 11:30. Sorry.
I thought it was 11. I don't know. Now you just made it worse.
Well, I'm just staring at the numbers, man. That's what I'm doing. What the schedule's telling me. Cincinnati and O&M, which seems like a a clothing store. Cincinnati's a minus 2,000 to win tonight. They've got a big lead. Cartagena's at BC Place. Vancouver is a big favorite. They should take care of business on that surface that they know. Cartagena's, I'm sure, is probably sitting there and going, man, what is this with this bouncy house here? And then LAG and San Miguelito. LAG should take care of business. They're a minus 625. Is there any auspice, manner, way, shape, or form where you're thinking that somebody could get bit in these and in the close?
Yeah, like I said, my only concern maybe a little bit would be Whitecaps, because that's not a comfortable aggregate, obviously at 0-0, but I don't see them losing at home.
Okay. And LAG and San Miguelito tied at 1s as well.
I'm not worried about them.
Yeah. So you're on the desk tonight. Once again, Dominus Almost, my apologies. What are you up to? MLSsoccer.com. What are you up to these days? You're in college. You're doing the college lacrosse bit?
Yeah, we have a fun one coming up at Chaminade High School on Saturday. It's Harvard against Marquette, and Harvard lacrosse is coming off a win over number 1 Syracuse.
Okay.
And it's the first win in the program's history over a number 1 team in the country.
Okay.
So Harvard coming in at number 4. Jerry Byrne, their head coach, a Chaminade alum, have been getting pictures and videos from Gold Star Stadium, and the people over there have a lot of work to do to get the snow removed. But yeah, we don't get a chance to do a lot of college stuff on Varsity Media, so we're super pumped for it. That'll be a noon start on Saturday.
Okay, weather permitting.
Well, they'll probably still play, but it'll be cold and potentially snowy. And then also on Varsity Media, we have playoff basketball coming up. So I've got a couple games Sunday up at Fordham University in the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay.
And MLS.
Yes, and MLS, and making sure that you can get from point A to point B and get everything rocking and rolling.
Yeah, I might even have to. There's concerns about buses, so I might even have to make myself a bus driver here and get in my SUV and bring my kid to school maybe here. So.
We'll keep an eye on that. As always, my friend, it's great to see you. Happy New Year! Happy New Year, by the way.
Same.
Good that we're getting back into the soccer swing of things. Just be safe. Get from point A to point B. 10-2 on the wheel, and low gear. And so we will catch up with you hopefully again next week, and we will run through everything, and we'll find out what's up with the baby Bulls and with NYC and everything up in the Northeast. Good to see you, my friend. Don't be a
Cheers.
There you go. Oh, he's a dad today. There you go. And he's going to be. You need a mug that says bus driver. That's what you need, one of those. But we'll catch up with you soon.
All right, buddy.
There goes Dylan Butler. Always great to catch up with our buddy Dylan Butler at MLSsoccer.com. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to take care of this bot. Spoken Galaxy gibberish. Since I saw it pop up, and it's like we got to block and report these things. And, and for once, we finally had one of them actually say that they were tied to a Russian website with a .ru. It finally popped up. And so what we already knew was finally confirmed. They said the quiet part out loud. Viewer solicitation bot. Okay. If I could spell solicitation. So that, there. Viewer solicitation about 23 characters, submit report. There we go. Okay. But yeah, Spoken Galaxy and then gibberish letters. Top viewers. And I'm going to be the kind of guy that's going to sit there and just go ahead and click on the Russian website. I'm going to do that. Despite what Jason and everybody's like, John has more pop-up windows that get him in trouble than anything else. But yeah, the last thing I'm going to do, thank you, Spoken Galaxy with gibberish letters to follow, is tap on to that Russian website. Not going to happen. So, yes. All right, so that's the run through of everything in MLS, a little bit of CONCACAF in there for you, and then we'll get to the rest of the show. Once again, rundown tomorrow. Max Anderson is going to join us 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central and then the Power Hour with Nino and Nico at 10 and 10:30. So tomorrow is stacked. Noon, Red Clay Wednesday, Red Clay Soccer Report. We catch up with the 4 coaches that are attached to the Wintersville Classic. Not necessarily going to talk about the result from last night on the girls and the boys side, but I want to get a state of the program and a state of the Wintersville Classic from their perspectives and where their programs are. We'll catch up with all 4 coaches inside the show, and I have invited them at 10-minute intervals. But at the same time, I'm like, come in early if you want for crosstalk, stay late if you want for crosstalk. So we'll see what that's going to be like. Red Clay Wednesday coming up at noon Eastern here on the network, where we break down everything in the high school game. Next week, Matt Cheeves, the head coach of Dalton, is going to join us on Red Clay to look at everything. And their season in Dalton has been crazy, and so has the season in and of itself. Westminster and Pope have started out slowly, but once again, that's why you schedule the non-region schedule the way that you do these days. And so Red Clay Wednesday, Red Clay Soccer Report presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. That is at noon here on the network. So we're going to sign off, obviously, from the morning show, regroup, get our notes together, and then come back at noon to talk high school soccer. We do that every Wednesday on the network. We talk about high school soccer for that hour during the regular season, and then every day during the playoffs. Obviously, not every day is an hour during the playoffs, but we catch up with you every day because there's something to talk about from somebody that has either won or is winning or is waiting for a matchup. So that's the rundown there. Once again, the next match on our grid is Lambert at West Forsyth, and that is at 6 and 8 on Friday. Maddie and I will have those for you here on the network. You can go to soccerdownhere.net and listen, and you hit the listen tab. And when there's something live, you'll see like a flashing red light in the upper channel, the upper corner of the channel that's up and running. So it could be SDH1, could be SDH2. And when we're up and running, it's a separate thing also. So you'll see when we're live there. So you can listen to SDH1 and 2, or you can listen to us here as we put the morning show out and all of our other content out on social media when we're live here. Separate channel, but it's kind of the mainstay. So that's your rundown of everything today and everything to pay attention to. CONCACAF, by the way, has signed an agreement with Paramount, and with the next handful of years, it is going to be with the Canadian Soccer, Soccer Media and Entertainment. They've extended their Canadian rights agreement with CONCACAF, and that is going to be for the next handful of years. Let's see, a 1-year extension to their agreement with Canadian rights. And so our friends from CSME and One Soccer. Then you have the news yesterday coming from Paramount Plus, and they're going to be keeping an eye on everything in CONCACAF on the W side all the way through 2030. So that came out yesterday with news out of Paramount and out of CONCACAF. So we actually do have our ref assignments for MLS Next Pros Week 1, and that is actually coming. It's starting in 2 days. So this means that we need to get Jose Silva and try and find a way to have him on the network to talk about things getting ready for the season. It actually starts on Friday. Friday. Sarah Gaddis is going to be one of your ARs as Messi and Friends 2 take on Fire 2 at the Erector set. 7 o'clock Friday nights, the beginning of the season. In MLS Next Pro. Man, that snuck up on us. Absolutely snuck up on us. And so we've reached out to MLS Next Pro to see if we can have a league presence come on to break down everything as they're getting ready for the season. But on Sunday, it is the Revs and Atlanta United 2. Sunday night, the Revs and Atlanta United 2 from Burns Stadium. 8 o'clock, Rodrigo Albuquerque is the man in the middle. Jeremy and Max Smith are your ARs. I don't know if they're related. And Keenan Kapitanovich is your fourth. So 8 o'clock Sunday night, if I got that right. 8 o'clock Sunday night, is that right? I'm trying to find my calendar really quickly. So do we have calendar? Yes. Okay, so So 8 o'clock Sunday night. It's the beginning of the season in MLS Next Pro. Yep, Sunday night. Sure enough. Absolutely it is. 8 o'clock Sunday night. It's the beginning of the season in MLS Next Pro. So adjust your schedules accordingly, and we will have all of that on the network. When we do not have action that conflicts from an Atlanta United perspective, we will have the matches for you. We're going to be in Athens for the home matches when they don't conflict with Atlanta United. And obviously, we'll have the road games when they don't conflict with the first team minutes and activities. So we're going to be the home for the twos once again all season long this season. And keep an eye out for academy matches and things that were part and parcel to calling on the weekends as well from the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground. But Sunday night, it's the first match of the season in MLS Next Pro. Revs 2 hosting Atlanta United 2. So 8 o'clock on the network. So we're going to be ready for you there as well. Okay, a couple of pieces of news. And starting off with in international news, Benfica lost their appeal on the Prestiani conditional one-match ban, missing the Real game. Appeal lodged by SL Benfica is dismissed. Consequently, the UEFA Control Ethics and Disciplinary Body's decision of 23 February 2026 is confirmed. Mr. Gianluca Prestiani remains provisionally suspended for the next UEFA club competition match for which he would otherwise be eligible, end quote. So keep an eye on that today. And since we are mentioning what's going on with Prestiani and Real Madrid, get you into Champions League from what happened yesterday, get you ready for today. And it is after Champions League yesterday with the results, you had once again goalless draw, Leverkusen and Olympiacos. Bodo Glimt gets the big win on the road at Inter at a plus 950. So Bodo Glimt gets the win and they advance. They're going to take on the winner of Manchester City and Sporting. Newcastle beat Karabag 3-2 in the match. Big favorite there. They were almost a minus 600. And then Atletico de Madrid 4-1 winners over Club Brugge at a minus 263. So today, Juve and Galatasaray. Galatasaray to win the match is a plus 525. That one is one of the 3 o'clockers. Then Juve's a minus 217. PSG and Monaco. PSG with a slight lead. They're at a minus 357. Monaco's a plus 900. Real Madrid Benfica, the match we were discussing with the Prestiani ban being confirmed. It is Real Madrid in the match, minus 147. Benfica's a plus 359. Draws a plus 340. 1245 Atalanta and Dortmund. Atalanta to win the match is a plus 114. 280 plus 280 on the draw, plus 210 for Dortmund. And looking at the grid in and of itself, once again, right now, as it is listed, PSG holds a 3-2 advantage over Monaco. Galatasaray 5-2 over Juve. Real Madrid 1-0 over Benfica. Dortmund 2-0 over Atalanta. Those are the numbers going into today. Newcastle wins theirs 9-3 in the composite. Atletico de Madrid wins theirs. It was tied at 3 with Club Brugge coming into the second leg. Club Brugge was competitive early. I think it was 1-1 at one point. Atletico de Madrid scores 3 in a row. 7-4 in the composite, in both legs in the combined. And then Bodo Glimt 5-2 in the composite over Inter as the 23 seed upsets the 10 seed. Bayer Leverkusen had 2 goals on the board against Olympiacos in leg 1. That held up 2-0. That was attached to that. So you end up with the Manchester City Sporting match. Either Manchester City or Sporting is going to be the bracket that you're looking at for Bodo Glimt. So we'll keep an eye on. So let me see. Champions League bracket. Let me see what it looks like. And, instead of just actually making it like it's supposed to be normal, no, we can't have that. That's not gonna happen. So your potential round of 16 ties. So and the draw is 7 o'clock Friday morning. Atalanta and Dortmund's winner gets Arsenal or Bayern Munich. Real Madrid Benfica's winner gets either Sporting or Manchester City. PSG's Monaco's winner gets either Barcelona or Chelsea. Juve and Galatasaray gets either Liverpool or Spurs. Atletico de Madrid gets either Liverpool or Spurs. Newcastle gets either Barcelona or Chelsea. Bodo Glimt gets either Sporting or Manchester City, and Bayer Leverkusen gets either Arsenal or Bayern. So you could have Bayer Leverkusen, Bayern Munich draw once again early in the morning on Friday, our time. So you could have Atleti, Galatasaray, Juve against Liverpool or Spurs. So keep an eye out for that. And we're going to keep an eye on those brackets as we go. News that we don't really like to talk about, but we have to, involving Sheffield Wednesday on two fronts. Well, first and foremost, Sheffield Wednesday was the team that had the earliest relegation ever, and the loss on the weekend to Sheffield United was the reason why. And so don't think for a second that the folks from Sheffield United weren't happy that they got to relegate Sheffield Wednesday. I think it's the first time, by far it is the earliest time that a team has been relegated, and I think it's the first time that someone's been relegated in February. And obviously with the point deductions and such, it's kind of an inevitability, but now it is official. Sheffield Wednesday is getting relegated to League One. On the heels of that, this morning, Sheffield Wednesday's proposed takeover has collapsed after the preferred bidder withdrew. Owls had selected a consortium led by James Board to proceed with their purchase of the club on Christmas Eve. Takeover had yet to be completed as authorities were consulted on whether they would pass the EFL Owners and Directors Test. And you'll see abbreviations, OADT. That's what this is, the Owners and Directors Test, which should probably happen more than it does. According to the other four-letter paper, the shiny object that we see in the sky with the moon, Board's consortium have signaled they are withdrawing from takeover proceedings. A consortium member has confirmed the group will not be re-entering their bid to buy the club. And remember, Wednesday entered administration in October, ending the reign of former owner Dafon Chansiri. You get the 12-point deduction when you go into administration, to go with the 6-point deduction in December because you didn't meet your payment obligations. And so Henrik Peterson's side minus 7 points at the bottom of the table in the championship. And then the 2-1 loss to Sheffield United. First EFL club ever to be relegated in February, set to return to action against Norwich tonight. Mike Ashley is still waiting in the wings, but what he wants to do is basically treat it like HMV. He wants to do it for pennies on the dollar and then probably boost it and flip it. But Begbie's trainer, the administrator of Sheffield Wednesday, says already that Ashley's bid does not meet a valuation by Begbie's trainer. So as of the moment, unless Mike Ashley wants to find a boatload of cash, then he probably would not be considered to be the new owner to take the club out of administration. He's like, I'm right here. Yeah, I'm right here. But the administrator's like, well, yeah, you might be right there, but you don't have the right number. You have not hit the right number for us. So it was discussed about Ashley. And so right now, Josh Board and his group are done in trying to be the next folks that are going to be there to own Sheffield Wednesday. Let me grab the article out of the Athletic, because there's only so much you can do when you're looking at other websites that are just media websites. And I know that the Athletic had chased after it, and I want to see if there's anything different when it comes to information involving Sheffield Wednesday. Like I said, we'll get into the standings in the championship, and it is a It is a mess. Surprising no one, once again, Sheffield Wednesday, one of 4 matches to be played today at 2:45. They're playing Norwich. Norwich is a big favorite. Sheffield Wednesday is a plus 1,400. Standings, just so you know them, Wrexham right now is in that final spot by 4 points, and they're now 4 points clear of Southampton and Bristol City when it comes to that 6th slot, the last promotion playoff spot. So keeping an eye on, seemingly having some technical difficulties. So, of course you are. All right. So now it's listed as NewYorkTimes.theathletic.com. Maybe that's why, as they're trying to transition their website over. So maybe that's why we're having the issues. And listing yourself as a New York Timesian website as opposed to The Athletic. So let's go to the app, shall we? And see if we can come up with something that involves the app in and of it. Yeah. Seem to be having some technical difficulties with a New York Times header. So there might be some transitioning of information and elements when it comes to The Athletic right now. So is it going to let me discover anything? Are you? Discover. So let's go search Sheffield Wednesday. So let's see. No results found. I call shenanigans. You have plenty of results on activity with Sheffield Wednesday. So we'll see if it loads or if the website and the app at The Athletic are fallen under the clutches of being converted to like NewYorkTimes.theathletic.com or something like that. So, we're kind of in a holding pattern when it comes to finding information from a place we want to try and find information from. Oh, no, we can't do that. No, we can't have that. So you want to people want to do breaking news during the show, and then they want to update things during the show. So let me see if, no, I don't want that. I want the ownership. Okay, so let's go here. From our friends at the BBC, consortium of Board Felix Romer and Al Sharif Faisal bin Jamil, they were named Christmas Eve Day. And so spent over $4 million to help run the club. So they spent $4 million over the last 2 months. And then they go, after much consideration, we've decided that we can no longer continue to do so. Begbie's trainer chose the board group after it paid a non-refundable deposit of $2.5 million, which that group will probably write off in some way. Been funding the club's losses since then to the tune of about £1 million a month. And going through the owners and directors test with the EFL and the new independent football regulator since then, a further payment was due this week to extend the preferred bidder status by another 2 weeks. Group has pulled out because the club's valuation is now considered to be lower than the £30 million originally offered, and the consortium are unable to negotiate down as per the terms of their agreement, and now it leaves administrators needing to find another buyer. Tuesday, another consortium led by American businessman David Storch stated it was still interested. They came out with a statement as well. So maybe David Storch goes to the front of the line. So we'll see what it looks like involving Sheffield Wednesday, but it's not good. And right now, the relegation fight, once again, it's 3 that go down, and it is no results found. Child, please. So, right now, sure. No articles found in a search. Yeah, this is me holding my breath on that one. Right now, it's 3 that go down. West Brom has 3 draws in their last 5, but the 44-day reign of Eric Ramsey has come to an end. George Campbell actually scored a goal yesterday in the draw, but that draw against Charlton Athletic, 1-1, does not help Eric Ramsey. He is out the door, and they are a point from safety. Sheffield Wednesday, once again, minus 7 points. They're relegated to League One, and now they're trying to find an owner. Oxford United right now is 6 points from safety at 29 points. They've won 6 times in 33. Leicester, 34 points, and includes the Federation's decision to dock them 6 for violating profit and sustainability rules. So they are currently in the relegation zone. Sorry, Nick. West Brom's at 35. Blackburn's at 38. Portsmouth's at 39. Norwich is at 39 with a better goal difference. So right now, that's what you're staring at. 5 points separating 5 teams to not get relegated. And now Sheffield Wednesday is looking for someone else to pick up and be the primary owner, and we'll see what happens with that. But obviously, not good if you are a follower or a fan of Sheffield Wednesday and seeing what it's going to be right there. And so we'll see what it looks like in all of that. Now, apparently, it looks like Aflac is going to be the NWSL Atlanta's first jersey sponsor. Announced the sponsorship agreement and primary sponsor on the team's jersey, 7-year deal. And this is from Doug Robertson over at the AJC. Financial terms not disclosed. Both sides described it being the largest deal in women's sports history for a jersey sponsorship. Previous record of 2.6 was reportedly broken last year by a contract between the Portland Thorns and Ring. And so Team 17 is not going to be anywhere until 2028 on the field. And so Tim Zalowski, in an interview, said Aflac will be with us the entire journey, other partners as they come on board. Paramount to our ability to have a great partner, great brand that is based here in Georgia, to be on that journey from literally day one. So Aflac, based in Columbus. First jersey sponsorship, first foray into professional soccer. U.S. President Virgil Miller is a part of the statement. Longstanding view of being supportive of women's sports, get an opportunity to be on the ground here in bringing NWSL Atlanta 2028. Being a part of that from the ground up is exciting to us. So the agreement was reached quickly. 2 companies giving back to the community among fundamental reasons for the partnership. Aflac will donate 10% of net proceeds from the apparel line to the Aflac Cancer and Blood Disorders Center, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, on the campus of Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Arthur M. Blank Hospital. Miller said women make 80% of healthcare decisions. 74% of supporters of women's sports are their household's primary earners, more likely to consider brands that support their favorite teams. NWSL viewership ratings increased over the 4 consecutive years. 2025 surpassed 20.1 million, an increase of 18% year to year. And Miller said that the opportunity to partner with AMBSE connects all the dots for them. Match day events, brand presence, first piece there. Looking to hire a president to oversee the entire thing, securing a site for the team's headquarters and training ground. And so that is the piece of news there involving NWSL and Team 17. So a piece of news there for fans of Atlanta United and AMBSE and the NWSL when it comes to be on the field for Atlanta United and NWSL Atlanta 2028 in short order. But Aflac's going to be on the front of the jersey, and apparently it's going to be a record for a sponsorship deal across the front when the team comes online for 2028. And Riverside Stadium in Kansas City, ribbon cutting ceremony yesterday for them and the Performance Center as they entertain, I think, 4 separate teams getting ready for the World Cup. They're all going to be training there. So it'll be locked in there. So now it finally pops up. Okay, so earliest team to relegate, Begbie's trainer, board's group's been funding. Faisal Ben Jamil to Matt Slater. The value is significantly less than we have bid at significantly higher value than been reported. Tried to look at it in different ways. Unfortunately, it's unjustifiable. We're very sad about it. Bid a lot higher than the $30 million. That figure is not in the same ballpark as our bid, but just because we can't wrestle with the valuation, it doesn't discount that someone else can bid at 30 million pounds, and I've already wished the administrators luck in finding someone who will. Both the EFL and the IFR, the independent regulator, have been concerned about the source of Board's money, as he is a former professional gambler who then moved into crypto, fintech, and online gambling. They've only won once in 33, 2 separate points deductions, 5 months in administration. Initial interest was from John McAvoy and the Storch family. We mentioned the quote from the Storch family. We also mentioned Mike Ashley. And so that's the latest on Wednesday. So we finally at least got the information and the intel about it. But that's That's the latest on Sheffield Wednesday, and it is sad that they were relegated. Earliest relegation ever in the history of the EFL, and that's what you're staring at with them. All right, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, and then we'll have gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and then we will get everything orchestrated for the Red Clay Wednesday show, where we look at Wintersville top to bottom. It's going to be fun. So Wednesday today, BN has Copa Libertadores. And once again, you can get BN and Copa Libertadores with our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. That link is important. Helps them, helps us, and helps you by adding more matches to everything you're already watching with Fanatis. You get BN, all the BNs, which mean you get all of the AFCON activity. You get the AFC Champions League activity. You get all the qualifying. You get French League. You get Turkish League. You get Polish League. You get Copa Libertadores. You get TAC matches out of Argentina. A lot of other countries have their matches up on Fanatis. It is Paraguay. I've seen Uruguay. I've seen Colombia. And I'm talking Primera A and Primera B. So a lot of activity there. Tigo Sports, CATV, Copa Argentina. It's all there at Fanatis. You get to add CDO. It is TVV if you want to add Argentina to your stacks as an add-on. You can do that. Once again, simulcast in Spanish, all the BNs. BN's got Libertadores doubleheader. And if you missed it, there is a new Copa Libertadores show from our friend Howard Hamilton that is out, and that is going to be that it's already out into the ether. And you got the doubleheader, BN in Espanol tonight at 5 and 7:30. Juve Galatasaray is on CBS Sports Network at 3. FS2 is busy. They have U20 action going on. Group stage is still going on there. And that reminds me, we've got to catch up with our friends at the Puerto Rico U20 team so we can catch you up with Isaiah Vicente from Atlanta United. Antigua Barbuda and the British Virgin Islands are at noon. Triple header Champions Cup, that's at 7, 9:30, 11:30. And the league we don't talk about is at 2. BN in Espanol simulcasting what's going on from the English language side on Libertadores. Champions League. Atalanta Borussia Dortmund at 12:45. Real Madrid Benfica is at 3. Mexico Iceland friendly is at 8:30. Unimas is simulcasting to the NA's Champions League. Fox ONE has your Champions Cup. 3 matches in the championship today that include Sheffield United, Coventry City, Millwall, Birmingham City, Stoke, and Oxford United is at 3. And all 4 of the Champions League matches, 1 at 12:45 and 3 at 3 o'clock. So that's your rundown there. Now, gossip, rumor, and innuendo to get you through. But once again, all of the gossip, rumor, and innuendo that's out there, we get you into on a daily basis. And then also, we get to let you know what's going on Fanati so you know what to watch and you know where to watch it on a daily basis. Remember, tomorrow after Red Clay at noon, Max Anderson from Chicago Fire at 9:30, then the Power Hour with Nino and Nico. That's going to be at 10 and 10:30. Obviously, I know we're going to talk about what's going on in Champions League, the Prestiani suspension, and everything that is attached to all of that. Mbappe is out of Madrid's match with Benfica because of concerns over a knee. And so we'll keep an eye on that. And are there going to be any other surprises that come through in the recent window? So we'll find out what's going on there. So rumors. Allison on the radar of Juve, according to Gazzetta dello Sport. They've added him to the stacks as they look for a solution amid issues with Michele Di Gregorio and Mattia Perrin. And they think that they could bring in Alisson, who was signed from Roma in 2018. So remain the starter despite their acquisition of bringing in Georgi Mamarashvili, latest player linked with a Serie A transfer. Barcelona interested in signing Omar Marmoush, according to Sport, identified as an alternative to Atletico de Madrid's Julian Alvarez. But optimism he could be signed less for 75 million euros. Sport also reports that they've informed the representatives of Joao Cancelo of their desire to sign him on a permanent next year, currently on loan from Al Hilal. United and City, both Keon Morgan gives White and Elliot Anderson from Forest, per the 4-letter paper, monitoring their situation ahead of potential moves in the summer. Dortmund set to demand a fee of around 70 million euro for clubs wanting to sign Felix Nemeka, amid interest from Chelsea and Manchester United, according to Bild. Situation at Dortmund reported to be sensitive after he joined an agency based in England, and it looks as though BVB would be willing to part ways with him if the valuation was met. Also expecting interest to emerge in Adeyemi and Serhu Girassi. Everton considering an approach for John Stones, who should be a free agent after this season. Contract expires in the summer. Likelihood of him demanding a notable signing on fee, the fact that he struggled with injury. 10 years after he arrived from Goodison Park in 2016. PSV Eindhoven expecting to part ways with Ricardo Pepi in the summer, according to AS. Leeds and Palace keeping tabs on Big Pat, who's currently at Derby County. Barcelona intending to sign on loan Marcus Rashford by activating the optional €30 million clause in the deal. Liverpool, Manchester City monitoring the situation of Juve wingback Andrea Cambiaso. Arsenal set to activate the optional €15 million clause to sign Piero Hincapié permanently from Bayer Leverkusen. Team talk. Newcastle have no interest in parting ways with Anthony Gordon this summer. Talk sport. Telegraph, Liverpool and United remain interested in signing Jan Diomande from Leipzig. Deal could currently be difficult to pursue due to a dispute between the two football agencies. Dortmund have identified Inter defender Benjamin Pavard as a replacement for center back Nico Schlotterbeck. Pavard currently on loan at Marseille. That's from Bild. Sevilla have won the race to sign IDV midfielder Patrick Mercado. That's from Fabrizio Romano. Spurs and Newcastle keen on Marco Senesi. Barcelona remain the favorites to land him on a free in the summer from Football Insider. And Kansas City are set to sign defender Diego Borges from Zalaegerszegi in Hungary after agreeing to a deal in principle worth €1.7 million. That's from our buddy Ben Jacobs. No movement on the Galarza Fonda front from Atlanta United. We'll obviously keep you posted on that. So that's the rundown for the morning. And we're going to be back here in less than an hour. Let you know what's going on a Red Clay Wednesday. Thanks to Mike Gramajo. Thanks to Dylan Butler. And thanks to all of you. Oh, Ricky's got the link to the NWSL. Now, do we have the actual note, or is there like a shiny video package? Okay, so it's just the photo of Atlanta and Aflac. So officially official from our friends at NWSL Atlanta 2028. And so Team 17 and Aflac. Now we're going to have, could you imagine the duck? The duck in promos. And so it is, the article is now officially up as Ricky has let us know. So let's see if there's any front of the kit partner, largest deal in women's sports history. The quote from Zalowski that we talked about. Match day activations at Mercedes-Benz, integrated brand presence, digital and social storytelling, serving as a presenting partner. We mentioned the Cancer and Blood Disorders Center, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, and U.S. President Virgil Miller. Quote from Arthur Blank, a statement from there, a statement from Linda Matzegeit, Chief Administrative Officer of Children's Healthcare. Excited to see the growth of the NWSL. Equally excited, Aflac and AMBSC are demonstrating their commitment to groundbreaking research and advancing life-saving care for kids. Okay, so statement on the website, statement from Arthur Blank, statement from Linda Matzegeit from Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, Aflac on the front of the jersey. So Aflac on the front of the jersey, and that is officially official as of 7 minutes ago. So that's the rundown there. Get your Aflac. But the thing is Aflac going to turn into the red and cream, or is it going to see now? Aflac is blue. Aflac is blue, and NWSL Atlanta 2028 is cream and red. Gonna have to find something in there that matches the colors. We'll find out what that. We'll find out what that's going to look like coming up a couple of years down the line. But Team 17's got a front of the jersey sponsor, and that name is Aflac. So there's a duck. You've got a duck. And Ricky's probably right. It probably is going to be the white word mark. So we'll see what it looks like. But Aflac across the front of everything for NWSL Atlanta and Team 17. And between now and when they come online in 2028, all the way through like 2033 if it's now, 2035 if it's when the team comes online. So it's there. And I imagine that the gear will be put out very, very quickly, and we'll all end up getting it. All right. Once again, back at top of the hour for Red Clay Wednesday. We'll break down the Wintersville Classic. We'll break down the 4 programs for Lowndes and Valdosta, and we'll let you know what's going on there as well. Once again, thanks to Dylan. Thanks to Mike. Thanks to y'all. And we're back at it again in 50 minutes. We'll talk high school and then back at it again tomorrow with a stacked show. Max Anderson with the Fire, Nino Torres, Nico Moreno in an hour, everything around the world, all in one place. And Nino's fighting a cold, so we'll keep an eye out for that. And we'll see if he's going to be at 100% for 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So that's all we got for this go-around. Thanks for hanging out with us, as you always do. Back at it again at noon for Red Clay Wednesday here on the network. Mucha Platiel, play it safe. And since it is the end of the show, it means we get to do this. See you at the top of the hour.